afternoon, guys. Oh, sorry, good morning, guys. Last time it was 12 o'clock, but now today's 11, right? So we are a bit earlier for us, right? So this is yet another series which I've been planning for a while, and this is very interesting for me because the guest over here today is not an unknown. I've known him for almost a decade, actually. And the fun fact is that we haven't met for over 5, 6 years now, something because I think you were in Reliance when we last met, right? And I mean, always we could never cross paths. He's in Bombay and I'm in Delhi, right? And finally, I got to talk to him for the event, and specifically why I pulled in Sunil today is because Sunil has this vast amount of experience. One of his last previous assignment was Alt Balaji, and then now he's working with Firework, which is like really amazing startup. In fact, congratulations! Like, heard you guys are closing another round of funding in US, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, it's a big secret, so we will not talk about it.
Oh, it's already in the news. But yeah, it's already in the news. I got an email while Pierre released yesterday, day before yesterday. So it's a very interesting startup. I'll Sunil talk about it later. And also another important aspect is that Sunil has been mentoring a lot of D2C startups. Very interesting ones. I know at least four of them. I'm sure there will be more, which he's not disclosing. Right. So that the experience as a founder, as a leader, and as as a person who's mentoring a lot of leadership, and I thought it's wise to bring him on the platform as well. So we had perspectives from legal, from Pushkar himself, the analytics guy, the legal due diligence bit, a founder, and aggregator so far, and now we are bringing in a mentor over here, and we want to discuss about growth, how to grow D2C brands, and what are the alternate mediums? Because this is one of the questions which we have been getting so far that, we are so marketplace oriented. We are only able to survive in the marketplace, and this is dominated by the rules and regulations of the ones like Amazon or Flipkart or so and so forth. And what are the other mediums and all that? That's a mood of the discussion, or move point of the discussion over here, right? So as always, you can ask questions in the comment. If it is relevant, we will pull it up. You're relevant to the topic we're talking, we'll put it up on the screen, we'll ask Sunil, let Sunil address the question, right? And if it's not relevant for the topic which you're discussing, we will try to address it in the last 15 minutes, between about 11:45 to 12. We'll try to address those queries. And if still queries are left, we will try to address it one-on-one later on as well. Right. And meanwhile, you can always go follow Sunil on LinkedIn, Twitter. He's very active on Twitter. He's one of the oldest Twitter guys I know. That's how we met, actually. So he's active on Twitter, LinkedIn, and all of the social mediums, right? Yeah. So
you just indirectly hinting my age. It's fine. I've been linked to
I have.
it.
Yeah, Behmood. Anyways, so maybe you might want to, and so we have Pushkar, of course. Sorry, Pushkar, I forgot you, but you're the host, right? So I'll get you. All right, so we can probably start with Sunil, and you can tell a little bit about your involvement in D2C and your experiences over there, and then probably Pushkar can take the first question he has been itching to ask since a long time.
So thanks a lot, guys, for having me on this session. It's probably one of the most exciting times of the Indian D2C market. I mean, it's like my American counterparts always seem to believe that there is at least 10 D2C brands that are emerging out of India on a weekly basis, and we are seeing a lot of action. So this probably will go down 10 years from now as the golden period of D2C and it's a very interesting space, and I'm wearing the lens of looking at direct to consumers from elsewhere in the world, because my we basically work with something close to about 500 600 direct to consumer brands globally, and then be able to look at what is being done elsewhere in the world, the kind of work that is getting done out there, and to be able to either see that getting implemented in some form or the other in this country. And there are unique challenges in India and this part of the world. I think it's a very, very exciting time for all of us. And I'm happy to be here, answer questions, give suggestions, anything that that would help bridge the gap between what a direct-to-consumer brand wants to do and what is currently available in the market. So yeah, happy to be here.
If you don't mind, Pushkar, can I ask a follow-up question quickly?
Yeah, please go ahead.
You said you've been dealing with D2C brands. Your organization is working on D2C brands for a while, right? Or 600 of them, if I'm not wrong. And they are globally spread. One. Second is that they must be a certain larger size, right? So you've been working with the internals, the D2C brands which are really large, if I'm not wrong, or are they mid-size as well?
No, there is, the most important and the most exciting part is the small and medium businesses which go D2C. I think globally that is the one where the maximum amount of excitement happens. A large brand, a large business that goes and calls itself direct to consumer is a direct to consumer, but they have the resources. I think the one which
Right,
is more exciting are the ones like Plum Goodness in India, or if you would look at any of the other smaller brands that have made an impact in the last 3 to 4 years.
right,
Those are the ones that were there. Even globally, that's where a lot of excitement, becomes. In fact, I can talk about a couple of things. Beta Brands. It's a sports and casual wear brand, which
right.
globally has taken an approach where said that they're only going to do live stream for their direct to consumer brand. And that's
Okay.
become a very unique case study, because what's happened over the last 1 year is that they've been able to kind of establish a community around themselves. So
Mhm,
it's not just the big direct to consumer brands. I mean, those have challenges and advantages that they bring, but it's
mhm.
the medium and the small direct to consumer brands which today now, with the tools that are available and the technology that is available, are being able to go and stand up on their own, instead of getting sucked into this big black hole of walled gardens, as I call them.
Walled gardens, interesting. Yeah, so I guess the live stream video should be coming back later on the community bit, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
Meanwhile, Pushkar, you offered the first question?
No, so just a follow-up question, Sunil. Like you said, you talked a lot about small and medium D2C brands. Now, the world we are living right now has changed. Like it's 2022, internet has been around for almost 15, 20 years now. Pandemic just changed the world order. So in today's time, like if I am starting out or if I have a small D2C brand, how do I create a great brand? And how do I compete with all these big guys?
So, the big guys obviously have their own, advantage of being a brand that can spend a lot of money, naturally, because of the size which is there. With the smaller ones, I think the focus really has to be focusing on the community that you can build around your brand, around your offering. I think that is something which a lot of direct to consumer brands globally forget to do, and that is, I think, one of the single most starting point. Because what I believe is that you can spend a lot of money getting a bunch of influencers to talk about your brand, but that now increasingly is being seen through by your customers. And what the customer really want to know is whether there are other customers like themselves who are using your product, or who have got an opinion about your product. And
Right.
that community is where a lot of action happens. So your brand is more better served by an actual customer willing to stand up and talk about your product and your direct to consumer offering, as compared to paying a lot of money to a bunch of influencers and getting them to talk about it. I mean, uh, that is, I think, one of the easiest strategies that you can do. And building a community, I do agree that building a community takes time, but it is something that is a large advantage that you will be that will stay with you for a longer time, as compared to spending money for a small bump in your numbers, and then going back to a lower number for a long period of time because you don't have any more money to spend. Uh, does that answer the question, Pushkar?
Yes, yes. So it does because I was by like you just answered my next question, or at least a part of it. I was going to come to community because we talk a lot about community. Like you have a set of people who are loyal to you, who resonate with your brand value, who will be there, like who will be your evangelist, who will promote your brand within their friends, the people they know. So I have two questions on this. First is, as a starting brand, how do I go about building a community? Like, how do I create like that framework where people, because see, most of the D2C selling, at least I think, is transactional. You like something, you buy it. You like something else, you buy that. But how do I build that loyalty, that where people think, hey, this is my brand? Like for example, there's a brand called Supreme. They sell t-shirts, and possibly they have a really strong community around them.
Right. Right.
Secondly, can non-aspirational brands create community? Say, for example, fashion wear is fine, high-end fashion. But if I am selling generic t-shirts or something on Amazon, like, is it even possible? Is that the path I should go about?
So, Pushkar, good questions, both of these. So, I'll go back to Beta Brands as the example because I completely love what those guys have done over the last year and a half. Uh, it is not a aspirational product that they are selling. They are selling basically gym wear. They are selling leggings and t-shirts and everything around a person who's going to be active. And it's of course based in the US. So a lot of it is during the pandemic there was a huge amount of surge of people who are interested in that kind of thing. What they've done is basically looked at live stream as the center point of things. So what they do is they have started off saying that okay, the founders are going to talk about what the product is going to do and how to use the product. And then they have gone into saying that, okay, one of their customers is a yoga proponent. So they've got that customer to talk about yoga as a big thing. Now, these are things which are small starting points. If you have set up a direct to consumer brand, there are some points, there are some uniqueness that is there. Otherwise, you wouldn't exist. You wouldn't go about setting up a brand. You will not go about investing money to put something out. So even if it is something that you consider generic, what is it that is making a difference to your customer's life? That is the point, the starting point. And then if you can build around it, if the easiest way to connect is to go in front of the camera and start talking about your product and how that product makes a difference. That builds, and the cadence that you build. If you know that your customer, if you got 10,000 people coming every day to your website or to your app, and if you are able to engage maybe even 5 or 10% of them on a weekly basis by making them come back again and again because you're offering something which is important to them, that solves a lot of the problems.
Just sorry to breaking guys on the floor. There's a question which is very relevant actually. We always define the term community as Islamic community is a very loosely mentioned term, right? So you want to go ahead, Sunil, and what does the community really mean? In fact, the follow-up question is also very interesting. Maybe you could just answer it together. That can a furniture and home decor D2C brand also can build a community? Is possible.
So I think furniture and home decor is one category that we have seen elsewhere in the world. Build a community which is strong because furniture and home decor normally have two instances. One is you're setting up home and you want to know what is it that you can do with your home, and you're buying a piece of furniture or you're buying a wallpaper or you want you basically are decorating your home or painting. All of those are things which require a spark, an idea, and that is where I think a community aspect comes in. A lot of times, what happens is, at least when I was doing up our home, at that point in time, our starting point was looking at similar people. There are people who will have a certain budget, and you know that there is a budget, and you want to pick up things which would fit into that budget or a particular look. All of those are things that are crowdsourced, that comes from the community. So it does need, if you are a furniture or a home decor brand, you're supposed to be an expert around, what furniture will work for what kind of lifestyle, what decor will work for what kind of home, and that becomes the talking point. So you could say that okay, it's a 3-year-old kid's bedroom that you are putting together, and what are the things that would make a 3-year-old happy? Could you talk about it for half an hour, and could you suggest out of your catalog pieces of furniture, pieces of decals, or color that goes well with them, and that then builds a conversation. It's building a community. Somebody asked that how what do you define a community? A community is a set of people who will stay with you for a period of time, not permanently because their priorities will also, but they'll stay with you for a period in time and will engage with you for that period, asking questions, contributing to the discussion which is going on. And I think that's a good starting point if you are looking at any category. I mean, furniture and home decor, in my opinion, is one of the easier categories. But like you said, if it's generic T-shirts, how do you build a community? Uh, you could build a community by inviting your customers to submit their artwork, which can be printed into T-shirts and make it available. That's one of the things that a startup that I'm supporting is already doing. So those are kind of things that can work.
And if I may add, furniture or home decor, I mean, since I'm going through it currently, it's just a very long process and a very tedious process. You're planning much ahead of your purchase. Probably a couple of months ahead, you're thinking, and during the thought process, you're actually going through creating Pinterest boards or talking to people, looking for ideas on Instagram, and you're scrolling through and saving. Like I have got an Instagram list of and the screenshots on Pinterest or Notion. In fact, I created a complete Notion table on what all goes in which room and what are the options available. So you do extensive amount of research. So I think that's a very furniture and home decor is a place where you can actually, and it's just a never-ending process because you build the living room, then you decide the bedroom is to be done with, and the bedroom is done with, then you come back to the living room, again redo it because it's been 5 years. Like that, it keeps on rotating around. So yeah, I completely agree. Furniture and home decor is a place where you can build a community really easily and really fast.
One small example of what a community. I mean, I stay in Mumbai, and one of the things that we were doing was looking at D Decor, and I'll name brands here. D Decor store in Andheri West as one of the options from where we could take curtain material and wallpaper and all of that. And the store owner and the salespeople there understood that we were confused. The next time we went there, they brought along with them a tailor, somebody who was an expert at putting together curtains in a particular manner. They also got somebody who was a paint contractor. So suddenly they were like 4 or 5 experts who were talking to me and my wife about what is the ideal mix of color that we could go. Had it been left to our own devices, we probably would have made it into some form of a studio. Yeah, it would have been a confusion that we would have, because when you're doing looking at furniture and decor and everything put together, there would have been a huge amount of problems that were there. But by the store just bringing those people together, and they didn't charge me for it.
Right.
That is something that is replicable on your website, on your app. You could. I'm not saying that all of it needs to be done, but you could just showcase somebody else's home that is completed using your furniture, and the person can just talk, and that is more genuine than doing anything else. Getting a model or an influencer to do whatever it is that they do. There is value in that, but it's more valuable to get a real customer to talk about their experience.
Right. So in the interest of time, I think we should move ahead from the community bit. Probably, Pushpa, you want to ask the next question, or you want me to do that?
No, so I have one more question, community, because I think this is fascinating. So usually, see from this conversation, what I am getting is community is about involving your customer, like giving her a say in the brand, saying, hey, like the t-shirt example you get, like you have an artwork, you have designed. No, we are just going to print this artwork on a t-shirt. So you're also an owner of the brand. You're just not a consumer.
Yes.
Now, does this community approach resonates more with millennials, or is it also with older generation? Do they also like to be involved into a brand's decision making? And also, is website a good medium to build a community, or something like should newer brands, young age brands look at something else?
See, it's wanting feedback or wanting someone else's opinion on whatever it is that you have in mind is generic. I mean, it's not just millennial or the older generation. I don't consider myself. I'm like the pre-millennial generation, but I do want to go and listen to somebody talk about a particular brand or a particular item that I am passionate about. You know, for a I look at again naming brands that I'm very aware of, and I'm saying Neiman's, the shoe brand, was something that fascinated me for a very long time. I mean, I kept asking myself that why would somebody wear shoes made out of wool in a country which is as dusty as India. But once I started following what they were doing on Twitter and on Instagram, and the kind of content. So community is having a conversation on an ongoing basis. So I could resonate with that because what was being put out was something that was very relevant to my life. Similarly, I think millennials are concerned about they're starting off probably just married, 25 to 35 year age group. Their demands and their requests and the attention span that they have is completely different from what is there for someone who's older like me. So as long as the brands are able to factor that, I think it works. And it can be on your website, it can be on Facebook Live, it can be Instagram Live. You could invest in a platform that brings all the live streaming capability to your own destination. I'm pitching my company here, but I don't need to take that seriously. But yeah, that's something which is which is
Smoothly done. Very smoothly done, actually. So I was just thinking simultaneously. So earlier we used to say a picture says 1,000 words, right? Now I guess we had to shift it completely to a video says 10,000 words or a million words. Things have completely shifted from a word to image to video and other mediums, right? AR, VR, and whatnot, right? So could you probably guide as to how do one start building this community, and how do one use these kind of mediums, the most attractive mediums so far which is available right now? How do one build it? Like you're saying about Fireworks a bit, right? So how does it happen? How do
Yeah,
brands use it?
so the quick answer to this is we are living, or we have entered the swipeable media generation. Let's put it that way. You This generation spends an inordinate amount of time swiping up or down or sideways on either Tinder, if that's what they are kicked about, or are very happy putting their entire life out on media which their friends and their community goes through. So
Right.
what I'm saying is, I mean, the media itself has changed quite a lot. I mean, it's not insulting. I'm not trying to insult a particular generation, but when I say this, and when you think about it, it's true. The average engagement on an Instagram post is about 4 to 5 seconds.
Oh,
The average attention span of a goldfish is 15 seconds. You know where I'm getting at. We are like at a situation where humans' attention span is less than that of a goldfish, and that needs to be catered to. So brands spend a huge amount of time putting out great creative work on on Instagram, on social, on swipeable media, and your audience is used to swiping through content or watching content in the video format in reels or any of the other short video platforms. And then when you bring them to where they need to actually swipe a card, spend money, it's plain boring text and images, and that is where the disconnect sometimes is. And that is something that needs to be remedied very very quickly, because you are bringing people who've got low attention span to and bringing them out there and giving them a like a 150 word paragraph which says, okay, this is how I describe the product. If that can be converted into video, I think that solves a lot of the problem, because video, like you said, video is the medium of the medium which is, I mean, I won't say for the future, but video is the medium, and it's the only medium that is going to be of importance to your audience going ahead.
interesting. So, I'm just quickly, there's a question which has come on LinkedIn live, but it's not showing over here on our dashboard. You know, in this Bhuvan, it's in context of D2C. Could a community be built for every category, or certain categories are good without? Okay, the question is, which is showing. It's not showing on my panel. My bad. Without a community.
You have to look hard, Delos.
Yeah, I agree.
So could a community be built for every category, or certain categories are good without a community? Uh, I think it depends upon what is it that you are trying to put out there. I mean, there are certain categories where you might not go the community route, but there will be certain amount of communication that you might want to put out there, which would be not a direct point to what you're selling, but it could be an indirect way. I mean, you don't need to, you know. Women's hygiene is a category which we have said. Intimate wear is a category which a
Mhm.
lot of people are very cagey. I mean, this is not just. I mean, we work with brands in the Middle East and in Turkey where they're not comfortable talking about women's hygiene or intimate wear in the manner that it would be in the West. What they have done is they have taken the effort to build narrative which is around these topics, which is not explicit, but it helps build the awareness for the towards the category. You know, plus size clothes or plus size intimate wear is one of the categories where one of the brands that we work with
Mhm.
have been putting out live streams, and the kind, what they have been doing there uh, is basically advising women who are otherwise I'm talking about normal women who find it very difficult to go to a shop and ask for fitting underwear. That's something which is catered by the brand by bringing them experts who can help them identify what works for every individual size. Uh, I hope that explains this particular question. That it is
Right.
not a category that you would build a community around in the normal terms, but here they have taken the effort of saying that okay, let's bring in experts, or let's give advice on
It's a
what would
approach,
work.
right? You take a different approach for different category. It's a very specific thing, right? You don't directly properly approach a community discussion on something like an intimate wear, but you probably take it turn around or beat the bush around a bit and
Right.
figure it out, right? Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, like another category which resonated very closely because of friends who have spoken about is IVF. IVF is very personal for thing, and there are direct to consumer brands that are up to taking IVF in a manner where uh, they are not talking about they're talking about support groups. Now, is support group a community, or is a community that becomes a support group? It's interchangeable, and I think those are that's where I am hinting towards.
Right. So we are like half time right now, folks. So we have probably 15 minutes more of questions for sure, and we have some interesting questions coming up on the comments
No,
as
but
well.
I have
Yeah.
quite a few questions to ask
So I
because
15 minutes for you. Just now.
because Sunil spoke about narratives, right? So narrative or storytelling. Now, advertising has always been about powerful storytelling, telling compelling storylines, and enticing people to buy. Now,
Right.
how important has storytelling or narrative become a part of community? And going forward, can this be your moat? Like, can you word of competition if you are, like, if you have a brand that has always been telling very powerful stories, or will something new come up and then storytelling will become irrelevant? We don't know, but your opinion on that, Sunil?
Yeah, I think storytelling is something which has been integral of selling for as long as we can remember. I mean, you cannot do away with good storytelling. It starts with what story your website or app is saying in the first place. Uh, you know, what's the story that your UI and UX is talking about? What is the experience that it is getting? So doing away with storytelling is an impossibility. Stories used to get told verbally, then it was the written word, then it became images, and now it is something which is more in the terms of video or live stream video. So this is something which is an evolving media. Do remember that about 8 years ago, we would not talk in terms of short format content. It was short format in 30 seconds or 6 seconds or 15 seconds was something. How do we tell something in 15 seconds? Whereas Most of my advertising friends would say that we've been doing this for the last 40 years. A 30-second ad film that sells a car or a chocolate is short format storytelling. So it has always been there. It's just that it has had to be adapted to the way the media is. Probably it has to be adapted to the way instead of horizontal video, now you need to look at vertical video. The format is different. Instead of saying something spread over a 3 minute period, now you have to tell that in 30 seconds. These are things that how important is storytelling for communities. I think the reason a community stays back and remains with you is because you are enriching them by giving them something to take back. And I think that is a very important part of storytelling and community building.
Right. In fact, I use this app called Agenda to make meeting notes. Very interesting aspect is that they have this product development system wherein they involve the clients on a community basis. So you can ask for product features, others can vote for it, and they pick it up based on that. And the product roadmap is altered based on that as well. And they have an interesting pricing strategy as well, with something for a different topic altogether. But community. So I always feel good. So even if I'm not using it, I start using it.
No, it used to be called focus groups once upon a time. We've just changed the nomenclature of it and we call it something else now.
But focus group was more of an initiative from the company's perspective in terms of finding the right target audience and checking out the product, right? More of a user interface, user research sort of thing. But here it's an ongoing process altogether. We feel a little bit of an ownership on the product. So I feel as if Agenda is a little bit owned by me, by the payment I made. I'm owning it a bit types, and I see that happening in Web3 altogether. Like Web3, there are a lot of new apps coming in wherein people are involved in the process of developing or supporting it basis on that ownership part. Passing on that ownership bit. Probably community is all about passing that ownership to the customers as well. Making the feel.
That's right. That's right.
So Pushkar, you had a couple of questions. Your time is running out.
No, I was just wondering because Sunil spoke a lot about live stream. So Arjun has a question. Maybe we can just take that because this seems interesting.
So live stream always ends up in some form of for a fist fight in terms of when we are talking with people who are say social media managers versus brand custodians. I mean that's something that that happens. So live stream commerce or live stream as a medium to sell has done phenomenally well in China. In fact, China is one of the pioneers in there, and there are news stories about billions of dollars worth of merchandise that gets sold in a day using just live stream. It's something which is beginning to show itself up in India as well as in some of the India similar markets. Because think of it this way, it's like owning your own TV channel. You can go live with your product at a predefined time, and can drive people to come and participate in that live stream. They can comment, they can select the product that they want, they can buy it immediately out there. And I think a direct to consumer brand approaching live stream as a medium to sell is becoming more and more prominent, because a small direct to consumer brand cannot afford the kind of monies that are required to go on television. And the alternate to that is you have a set of people who are coming to your website or your app on a daily basis. If you can put together a compelling live stream that allows you to sell, that's a fantastic place to be. And there is a lot that has been written around what kind of a live stream would work or what would not work. This is something which is, I mean, I could go on for the next couple of hours, but I don't think Pushkar will like that. So I'll stop here. I hope that answers the question, Arjun.
Example on one of those D2C brands in India, probably, because the context is we have a lot of Indian D2C brand founders over here. I think at the last count of 70 or 80 people are attending the live stream right now, and I'm not sure how many other on YouTube, right? So on a context of Indian brand, probably you can say somebody who's using live stream very effectively.
I'm sorry, your question kind of broke up. It was all muddled.
So I was saying that if you can give an example of a company which is using live stream effectively in India, right? So that would give a context and also answer people. People can always look up to that company's activity, right?
Immediately two brands come to life. One is Neemly Live, which is relevant to this particular audience. Neemly is a small cosmetic brand that did live stream on a regular basis.
Right.
Uh, One of the things that we track is what is the add to cart ratio. If 100 people attended, how many of those people added the product that was dropped during the live stream? When I mean a
Right.
product dropped during the live stream is there's an anchor or a host who's talking about uh, makeup in as a generic concept. The products that she is talking about is available as a link during the live stream. I mean, this is possible only if you're doing it on your own website,
Right.
not possible on social because of restrictions. But when that happens, how many people click on that and add, add something that is add to cart. That is something that and what we have seen is generically it's about 6 to 7% people add products to cart, which
Right.
is saying that, okay, these are people who considered buying the product. They might not have checked out at that moment. Indians take time to check out for various reasons. Culturally, we don't, there are people who do, very, very bizarre things on the internet, but Indians by and large are conservative. They will check out at a particular point. But that allows you to retarget. That data is your own. And we are getting into first party data ownership versus a black hole which doesn't give you any data back. So that is something which is there. So namely, cosmetics is one which I can think of. Uh, ITC did a live stream recently, which was a very big production. I mean, it was live stream, but there was a large production that was involved because ITC is not exactly a small direct to consumer brand. Now,
Right.
in their case, the add to cart ratio or the checkout ratio was as high as 15 to 20%, and I think between the two is where the power of live stream really lies.
So a quick follow up. While you're explaining, namely, you mentioned that you cannot do live stream and shoppable links in a platform like, for example, Amazon or Instagram or somewhere like that. I mean, I guess Instagram is coming up with this concept, but then still, this is very nascent stage, right? And plus, you have restrictions on a lot of stuff, right? It is more videos and reels, pre-recorded, not a live stream right now, which is happening, right? So yeah, coming back to the point is that if you were to take a D2C brand's usual conundrum is that where to start selling the product, and they usually piggyback on Amazon or Flipkart or one of those marketplaces because the customers are widely available, and they start doing it and they grow slowly and steadily, right? We receive a lot of DAGs and a lot of queries from a lot of D2C brands, and we have seen that initial few lakhs of revenue per month, they are stuck to a marketplace, and usually they're stuck to one marketplace specifically, not even mitigating the risk by being there in multiple marketplaces, right? But we often say that it's a very bad concept. I mean, we have personal reasons for that. But what do you think? Selling on a marketplace was selling on through one's app or website, which is very tough to bring customers in. And using new age media, probably they can do that. Which is better? What are the pros and cons in your opinion? Since you've been mentoring and advising a lot of D2C brands, so I just thought.
My advice is by all means be on all the marketplaces that you want to be, but the customer belongs to that marketplace. The customer doesn't belong to you. So
Absolutely.
if you don't bring that transition, that customer from that marketplace to your own destination, you're losing something big. So
Right.
I mean, think of it this way: that you are on a marketplace, and then you're spending money to bring people to buy the product on the marketplace. Instead of
Right.
that, if you focus on bringing those people to your own destination and building a community there and letting them stay there for a longer time and giving them value, that's the moat that you have created. Those are your customers who come back to you for fulfilling their requirement and their aspirations, and that I think is more powerful than something that's there as part of a marketplace, because all marketplaces and naming names again, Flipkart is interested in selling some product, not your product. Amazon is interested in selling some product, including your competitors, not your product.
Right.
Instagram, if I look at a coffee brand, if I even like click on a coffee brand, in the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'll have 5 other competing coffee brands which are there in my feed, which basically means that Instagram is not interested in your coffee brand. It is interested in some coffee brand, being able to a click that gets generated. every walled garden is focused hugely on optimizing what they are able to sell. It's not optimized to what you are selling. Hence, it's important that while you are on a marketplace, it's important to build your own destination as a place. One is that 30-40% that you are giving away is yours to keep, and you can use it in brilliant ways. And I think that is something that's important for you to consider. And Anjan Chaudhary's question, that what's the backend team and all, I think I won't be able to cover that right now because that's a
Right.
long conversation. You can ping me on LinkedIn. I can set up a time and then help understand all of that.
Awesome. That's great. So, folks, being on LinkedIn really helps, right? So, in fact, I was about to say about Anjana. So, Anjan, I have a quick suggestion. I'm just trying to pitch my thought. I recently bought something, and they gave me a card which said, you get 10% off, or there is another one which said, there's a warranty registration online. You just scan the QR code, and I scanned it, and I was registered. So I got to talk to the brand directly. I bought the product from Amazon, but got to talk to the brand directly, and then I got in touch with the brand, and the brand didn't spam with emails. Instead, they suggested how to, send me some instructional videos on how to use that particular product. This is a UPS kind of thing. So how to use that particular product. If you're facing any issues, this is what you should do. Troubleshooting videos and all. And we started creating a link. So tomorrow I will remember the brand as such, and probably even if I don't buy it from Amazon, I'll buy it from the website, but I'll buy it from the Amazon. I think the idea was recall, but they could slowly transition to, community as well. They can slowly bring me to their community as well. That is quite possible. I guess it's about carefully constructing that, channel. So, anyways, we have a lot of queries, which is there on LinkedIn. I don't think we'll be able to address all of them, but so marketplaces versus on website was what we were discussing right now. Just jumping a little ahead, and I had this one question from Sonal earlier, about 10 minutes back. The question was, Pushkar, if you can bring it to the screen, that'll be great. At 11:21, she asked, how old to evaluate each such a community? Sorry, the one before that. How old to evaluate such a community's contribution towards brand building, and should a brand also sell to such a group, or only market the brand to them? There does remain a difference between selling and marketing, right? So my question from someone's question was that, the metrics which we use to evaluate our efforts of community building, because we have as a D2C brand, we have limited resources, right? So how do we evaluate how much money or how much time has to be spent on building community, and are we getting the real results out of it? Because you have to effectively build that concept, right? Learnings has to be made and worked upon, right? So how do a D2C brand evaluate? So, how do you advise it?
So there are no quick fix solutions. It's not like spending X amount of money and a click based campaign, and you're saying. I mean, it's somewhere along the line, digital marketing companies and digital agencies have kind of messed it up as far as what is it that we are tracking. If you're building a community, it's a long haul. It's not going to be an instant solution, and communities come to you basically because they're getting something back, and they're also coming because they are interested in what you are putting out there. And interchangeable, can you sell to your community? By all means sell to your community, because if it's relevant to them, they will buy.
Right.
And if it is not relevant to them, they will go elsewhere. I mean, it's a basic truth that's out there. I think it's at some point when you're building the brand, and you don't need to really go elaborate on it. It can start really small and then build up over a period in time. So you will require 6 to 9 months of effort to build a cadence that brings the people in over and over again,
Right.
and that is something which needs to be recognized. It's not going to be an instant thing that you put something out there and you got 10,000 clicks landing up, 10,000 visitors on your site, and a percentage of that converted into a sale, hence your ROI. If you look at it that way, then you're doing something else. You're doing something wrong. Community building is something which goes beyond that, because this community might stay with you. The lifetime value of a participant in a community is far more than what it is of somebody who came to your website for 4 minutes and went away.
Right. So you can actually start slow, like probably have a Twitter account and then interact with clients. initially, or Instagram account, and that's also sort of community interactions, right? And then slowly and steadily migrate to a good let's say CMS or something like that, a good platform like Stack Overflow, something like that, or a Discord channel, or depending on the kind of client you're addressing to, and slowly and steadily you can build it. You don't need to initially invest a lot of money into community, if I get it right. You really
Right.
do over a period of time, slowly and steadily, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not one versus the other. Community allows you to own the customer as your own, have their first party data as your own because they're spending far more time on your owned and operated assets.
Right.
I think that is ROI that gets, or that's money well spent, and the ROI on that over a period in time is far more effective than burning money on just buying media.
Right. Pushkar, if you have any follow-up questions or anything like that, because you have like 10 minutes left and you have a lot of questions, I'm not sure which one to pick first.
No, but I really want to ask one question because Sunil also mentioned that, and there was someone else asking this question. So the question was, can you sell to your community? Now, if you're a D2C brand, why would you create a community if you don't want to sell it to them? Like, is there any other purpose?
Yeah, absolutely. The community is being built because you want them to come back to you over and over again. It will become transactional, and they will start talking about your brand over and over again, and that kind of is something that will bring other people in. But if you're not intending to sell, then what's the community for? I mean, that's clear. You're there to sell to them, and you're also willing to give them a little bit more than just the product that they're buying. So I think, Pushkar, you're right. I mean, you can sell to your community.
No, if I ever found, I would sell to my community. Like, otherwise, I wouldn't make such an effort.
Anyone, right? Anyone I find.
Yeah, I think that's the objective. So,
I agree.
like, we have a lot of questions. Dulos, do you want to take something, or I have
Yes,
one or two more?
interesting Tushar's question, right? So when we are scaling up, should we place our products in the marketplace? And once we generated some awareness, then we can spend money to bring customer on a website. Do brands follow this approach? You know, you want
Yeah,
to?
I think most brands start off with the marketplace as the place where they get visibility. They
Right.
compromise the margins for the visibility that is there.
Right.
Just 1 minute, just 1 minute.
Sure. So meanwhile, quickly Tushar, I think there are other brands as well. Yeah, are you back soon?
Yeah, I'm back. So I think the marketplace is a good place to start if you're looking at volumes to start off. Creating awareness and all of that, but you're also competing with others in the same category. So it's trade-off one versus the other. You generate some amount of awareness, you have generate some amount of if you can bring those people to your own then operated website, I think that would be the best possible combination that you can have. And lots of brands follow that. In fact, I know several brands that started off saying that we will not be a part of the marketplace, but then the demand is such that, okay, Amazon gives me X amount of discount, so why shouldn't I buy it off Amazon? Well, I mean, that's one type of customer. And the other customer would say that, no, I mean, I want to know more about what I'm buying, and hence I will only buy from the direct to consumer website. You need to cater to both sides. So, that probably answers the reason why the dual approach is better.
Right. And I also observed that, communities also D2C brands also use marketplaces also because of the logistical prowess, sending your product to a tier 3 town is a little hassle and it takes a lot of time, whereas customers want it immediately. So an Amazon or a Flipkart can quickly do that versus our logistics system or our D2C brands logistics system. One thing, since we've been talking about coffee and you're also a coffee connoisseur and I also enjoy coffee and Pushkar also enjoys coffee. So, there is a brand called Devans, which is based out of Khanna Market in Delhi. Amazing coffees, but they don't sell it on major marketplaces. In fact, you'll have to place an order on their website itself. Even though I've seen them in La Marche or some super chains, but I could never find them on marketplaces. So I guess it's also about the brand's positioning, right? So if you're a strong brand and have a strong community, you really don't need to depend on marketplace at all. I mean, I think Devon's position is an aspiring stage which every brand should actually focus on. Okay, I want to be there. Where I'm marketplace agnostic. I'm not worried about marketplace and leads coming through that, but I can sell using my own community. It's just an observation. Maybe wrong as well.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, if you're catering to a niche premium product, you might not want to be seen in a marketplace. There are some brands which put the lower end of the products on the marketplace, but the premium ones where they really want to engage with the customer, they want to keep the premiumness there. They'll say, okay, that's available only on the website.
That's
So
interesting strategy.
there are various strategies that can be there. Coffee, I know several brands which refuse to go on any marketplace for their products to be available, and it makes sense because it's such a niche category. I mean, your coffee tastes are different from my coffee taste, and there are ways in which both sides of the customer can be catered to.
Right. So we had a question from Siddharth Modi in between. I guess he was not there initially when I introduced you. He's wondering about your organization which you're working with, and about where he can read more about live stream idea as such. So have you written something on live stream? You used to write and all earlier, right? So I was just wondering, and have you written
Yeah, I
something, an
mean,
article?
Firework is a Silicon Valley-based company. We are a SaaS product that makes it possible for you to do live stream and shoppable videos on your owned and operated apps or website. There's a lot that is written there, and I can take some of these offline. And I don't want to do a product pitch on this, but you could go to firework.tv and all the information out there. There is do-it-yourself service that's available. Uh, so by all means, I mean, write in, and I can help you understand and navigate some of the issues which are there with this very new medium which is coming into this part of the world.
Right. So, anyways, firework.tv. So that I put that address, and of course, you can always write to Sunil, on Twitter and LinkedIn, both. Right, he's very active over there. Sorry, Pushkar, I'm hogging the limelight. You're not getting chances to ask questions. Let me know if you want to break, because there's a lot of questions to answer. I'm just wondering which one to pick right now, and we have about 5 minutes left.
No worries. So I have one final question to Lowe's. Then maybe you can just ask one more and then we wrap it up.
Right.
So my question was, Sunil spoke a lot about narrative, the power of storytelling. Now, I believe the idea is to create a brand that your customers or your potential consumers, they relate to it. Now, how do we create such a powerful storytelling that resonates with our consumers or would-be consumers? How does one go about doing that?
First is to be honest about your product. I mean, customers are intelligent. Your clients, your consumers are mature individuals who can see through what is being told. So be honest about your origin story. Be honest about your brand. People love to know how the brand came about. What is the genesis? What is the backstory? I think all of those are important aspects of who you are as a brand. So uh, you know you cannot bluff your way through the narrative by putting something which is not correct out there. I mean, don't over engineer the narrative to a point where people start refusing to believe. I think uh, you know and the most honest storytellers are the people who own the brands themselves. The direct to If you are making candles and you have a website, you're the one who can sell your product better than anyone else. And same goes for apparel, same goes for cosmetic, same goes for food. You're the biggest ambassador that there is
Right.
for your product. In fact, we work with this brand called Fu in Tokyo, where it's not some trained anchor who is modeling the products out there. It's loungewear. It is the store assistants who are the models that are used out there, and they are passionate about what they're selling. Particularly in the pandemic, when no one was coming to the stores and all that, they were live streaming from the stores, and they were the ones who were the models out there because they are the ones who know everything in and out about the product. So storytelling, honesty is, I think, the most important aspect of what you can put out there.
Right. I think that address Anjan's query as well. The backend team requirement you can do with whatever you have, and it's just about how to approach it with the right storytelling bit of it. What are you trying to communicate, not how you're trying to communicate in the first stage. And you can not have platforms or anything like that, any tools. You can just start by just a simple video copy, right? And later on graduate as and when you grow. I'm not sure whether we should pick any more questions, or rather, just to. Uh, Is there any question which interests you, Sunil? You can also see that which you would like to address. Meanwhile, I'll just summarize what we're discussing so far. What we're discussing is that, how can you grow beyond a marketplace on ad-driven or performance marketing-driven sale for readers? And we said, no, you have to bring people to your own website, and you should build a community. Community is probably the most important tool, and you have various tools available to do that. In the sense like a live streaming options, or or even a chat option, or a community tools are widely available. So that is what Sunil is recommending for every D2C brand, how to grow your brand beyond a marketplace, right? Any questions, Sunil, which you would like to pick? Last question. We have about a minute left.
Yeah, I think Anjan's question about backend team content requirement for a live stream. I think that's there is a lot of material that's available on the website. We've got some stuff on our website also. So it does not require an elaborate setup or anything like that. If you can do it yourself. I mean, that's the way I look at it. There are lots of tools that are there. You don't need to break the bank to become what I call a single brand broadcaster at all on this. It's very easy to do this. So I think once you got to a narrative and your what content you want to put out there, together, going live is very, very easy.
Right. So anyways, I guess that was like a very interesting session, and we probably should hang up now because it's already 12. So as I mean, right. You can all contact Sunil. We have about 100 odd people who came and popped up and saw this video stream, and a lot of people are going to watch it again. So for their benefit, you can always reach out to Sunil on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm so sorry, Sunil, you're gonna get flooded with messages.
No problem.
And of course, we would like to continue this conversation again, Sunil, at one point in time, because we have barely scratched the surface in terms of community building and live streaming, right? Live streaming. So maybe we should have a separate session on live streaming later on. So I hope you're game for it. I mean, I'm asking you publicly so that you cannot refuse. You see?
No problem. Happy to answer questions.
Right.
Happy to help the brands here to achieve what they want to achieve. Anytime that you want, I'm happy to get on session, because I anyway spend my weekends helping brands in some way or the other. And there's a limit that I can do on a one-on-one basis. This is much better because 100 odd people interacting together. It's always exciting.
Right. So we are also looking for ideas from you. As in fact, we did a lot of sessions in different perspectives which you could think about. Due diligence. We start off with an expert in due diligence, and then for founder, and then from a role of aggregator, and now from a mentor. We've been thinking on different perspectives on how to approach the D2C industry as such. We got follow-up ideas, of course. But anyways, we're taking a small break now for a couple of weeks. We wouldn't be doing in live sessions because we are assimilating our thoughts and experience so far, talking to people who have attended this in sessions, right? If you have any concept or any idea, or if you want to suggest somebody, or you want to come on a live session, or you want to do a community around this thing, we can also build a community around D2C brands, right? And have people like Sunil there and address inquiries on a larger platform, right? In a close-gated community, walled community. We could do that. So give us ideas, give us thoughts. You can reach us on LinkedIn. Of course, our messages are open. Pushkar, me, in fact, Sunil, everyone is open for ideas, right? We all can communicate with each other. Or you can write to us at hello@tremis.in. Anything at all, any comments, any suggestions, you're welcome. We're looking forward to hear from you. I guess we'll wrap it up then. Thanks, Sunil. Thanks for the time again. I know it was very busy schedule, and you managed to. And Wednesday is not the apt time for somebody to come on board, right? In the middle of the week, middle of work. So thank you very much for taking time talking to us. It was an insightful session, and I guess we'll be doing it more often, with you, a couple of more sessions at least. And of course, Pushkar. One funny fact, though, Pushkar was in Bombay last week when we were talking to somebody in Gurgaon. And today Pushkar is in Jaipur because you're talking to somebody in Bombay. I think he's got something to do with, he doesn't like being at the same place where the guest is. Truly remote. So thanks for hosting it on the go.
My pleasure. Thanks, Sunil. Thanks, fellows.
Thank you for having me on, and thanks a lot for all the conversation. I look forward to doing one again.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.